Did you come to say goodbye to me?
More like to share my fear. Your condition yesterday, after the fight with that Bukovac, it troubled me. I don't think my treatments are having a long-lasting effect. And you don't look the best. Do you feel all right?
I feel fine, thank you.
Don't talk if you don't want to. What do you intend to do now?
Just a moment. What about you?
Thanks to you. I had a little time to think about what I saw in your mind. Tell me, have
I haven't.
I had. Even at the promised me a favor, so Warsaw sounds perfect.
Warszawa! Warsaw! Warsaw! Fast stop, Warsaw. Time to wake up.
It's clouding over.
The weather is like my mood.
Aside from the circumstances of the funeral bringing you back, hadn't thought of ever returning here?
I definitely didn't expect I'd be coming to my father's funeral so early.
I've noticed you two had certain differences in your views on life.
Yes, especially on my life. But admittedly, that's not a very exciting discovery. Is that all you've learned about me on our journey?
You drool in your sleep. Be thinking there about Warsaw.
Workers are striking. They want to take advantage of the Tsar's visit to Warsaw. The protests are being violently suppressed. Last week, around a dozen people were killed. Polish Socialist Party militants attacked a train. They stole money, bonds, and explosive materials. They're also suspected of robbing a transport of Dutch bombing. The socialists in Warsaw must look pretty sharp then. Further along, we've got murders, muggings, and politics.
The newspapers feed on sensation. Remember that in darkness, even a small spark can be seen clearly. Even I can feel hope from all the people riding with us, can't you?
Even without my powers, I can tell that hope is bringing people here from all three petitions. Miners, steelworkers, governors, maids, speculators, thieves. I've forgotten to read a few of our fellow passengers' possessions, and I know that hope can have many faces.
Will you share that knowledge with me?
There's a terrified woman riding with us. She's either running away or in hiding. I think that gentleman is smuggling something, because excitement is all mixed up with guilt inside them. And this dandy, he's going whoring.
If there's something I've learned in life, Victor, it's never to neglect the horse.
Warsaw, end of the line. Welcome to Warszawa.
I think the time's come to ask where you plan to stay.
I'll let you know when I come up with something.
People unite, empires fall. Why such a crowd?
A circus has come to town.
These are troubled times. Brothers turn against brothers. Russia has had enough bloodshed. The violence must stop. When socialists attempt to divide Russia and her subject nations, to dent the sword that smote the enemy at Grunwald, this demands my decisive action. Thus, by my grace, I hereby appoint as Governor General of Warsaw Georgi Antonovich Skowon.
A butcher.
Not a popular guy, I presume.
I see you ain't from here. Swine keeps a photo album of all the folks he's had shot at the Citadel.
Before and after execution.
Warsaw! The time for leniency and indulgence is over. From the moment this office is bestowed on me, no forces hostile to the subjects of Greater Russia will have any further right to exist. None! Whether it be brutal socialist subversives, communists, Jews, or other satanic provocators.
He sure knows how to unite a crowd.
Pardon me. Are you Polish?
I was born in Warsaw, but I'm lapsed. My name's Victor.
Banda.
This is Russia here. Like it or not. Warszawa. Время террора закончилось.
Иди нахуй!
My first decision as Governor General of Warsaw. Arrestować.
Great heroes in their sense of timing. Of course, now they're the first ones in the fight.
Samoobladanie, Poliaki. We want that rebel. The Landmount.
Yeah.
What happened?
Hey, gentlemen, please kneel and tie my shoe.
That seems more like a job for the servants, young lady.
Go ahead. Look down. Can I ask you a tiny favor? The Russians can't find out about this. The military is just looking for an excuse to suppress the crowd, and these workers are dreaming of thrashing a Russian gendarme.
Either one of you confesses to disturbing the peace, or всех забирай. We'll take your lead.
You can't handle all of us.
Can you get us out of here?
I think I'm open to any kind of suggestion.
With a book like that, I'd find out what would convince one of these bastards to let us go. Or I'd take on that self-appointed leader of the proletariat.
Interesting strategy. Who are you, really?
Damsel in distress.
Those don't usually hide ammunition in their stockings.
Can I explain it to you another time?
For instance, I could disclose to a soldier that you came here with ammunition under your skirt.
Maybe we should see who they believe. A respected lady of Warsaw, or a common magician who just 100 years ago would have been burned at the stake.
Well, since you asked so nicely. I'm going to take a look around.
Do you think it's a good idea to stir people up and send them to face bullets and bayonets?
What do you want then? My whole life on my knees? Kissing Ruski's ass?
I was trying to keep from dragging ordinary people into the fight. They won't expect us to strike first. How many are coming with us?
Let's see for ourselves.
Name?
Szulski. Victor.
One of those Shulskis?
Yes.
My condolences. Now, profile.
Thank you.
What you pissing in the bucket for, asshole?
Where else am I supposed to?
Brown in the bucket, whiz on the wall.
You better remember that, too. That bucket's gonna last you guys till tomorrow.
Can I use the phone?
I wouldn't call you a master strategist.
You got away from the station, so theoretically, we achieved our goal.
You're not losing your sense of humor. I guess this isn't your first time in a place like this, is it?
I spent a little time on the Rue de la Raquette in Paris.
It got demolished 5 years ago.
Oui. What about you? You seem to know your way around this setting. You been here often?
I'll take that as a compliment. And sure, sometimes, if the cause demands it.
What cause?
Let's say I know certain folks who'd find poles like you useful.
Dealers in stolen Dutch pomade?
Donut connoisseurs. They met at Burke Rotblitz's cafe.
I don't want to jinx it, but do you spend time there too?
If I'm not there, no one will want to talk to you. And don't worry, I don't usually hang out long in places like this.
Shulski!
I see you won't be hanging out here long either.
What are you staring at, Ganef?
I don't know what that means.
Quit squealing. First time in the big city? Have some respect if you don't know who you're running your mouth at. He's one of them that went after the Ruskies with his bare fists.
I showed a couple of Russian soldiers when I think about the partitions.
I have moments like that sometimes.
And I gave it to some Ruskies in the kisser, too. There's this red-bearded fella sitting there. I glassed him in the face, then kicked him in the bean, and wham! On the floor. And I pinched his billfold, too.
Did anybody ask you? Shut your damn trap. Well, are you from somebody?
First of all, I am a Thaumaturge.
Now them, I got respect for. I know one really decent Jew from Povishla, who's a wizard too.
How about you? You got a foreskin or what?
Is my foreskin any of your fucking business?
Well, no. I was just...
Schmuck. You don't look like much of a Warsaw lad.
You should not judge a book by its cover.
A tough guy, like a real Warsaw lad.
I was born here. Now I've come home.
Welcome to Warsaw.
Shulski, this yours?
That's right.
Then take it and get out of here.
Can I ask why the sudden change of plans? Anyone I should thank?
If he wants to, he'll tell you himself.
Thank you.
I'm sure you don't remember me. My name's Hayat, Mordecai Hayat. I wanted to offer my condolences.
Thank you.
Please, forgive my prying. I know Mr. Shulsky took nitroglycerin for his heart, but how did he pass away? Was that his cause of death? His heart?
I'm curious myself. I haven't had a chance to find out.
Yes, I understand. My condolences, once again. I'll leave you alone. I'm sure you want to bid farewell to your father.
I think I ought to arrest you, Thaumaturge.
They haven't done anything, officer. What's the problem?
I barely recognize you either. You still haven't figured out who I am? Don't be surprised. The last time we saw one another was 20 kilos ago.
Uncle Voronian?
I will not keep you. The guy's probably all alone back there, among those vultures circling Stasio. I'm sure she'll be glad to see you. Go on. We'll talk later.
Sister?
Victor. I'm so glad you came. I wasn't sure if my telegram had reached you.
I'm glad too. How are you holding up?
All this caught me off guard, but for now I don't have time to think things through calmly. Look at yourself. What happened?
I took a short trip to a Warsaw jail.
What? Are you joking? During the funeral? Are you all right?
Everything's fine, don't worry. Have you written to Mother?
Yes, but what can you expect? You know what Nadia is like. It was never her style to show up for family events like this. It's getting late, and we've still got the reading of Papa's will ahead of us at home. And I'll leave you two alone. I suppose you've got your own matters to clear up.
Fine, let's get this over with. So, it was me who got it right in the end. Back then, on the train platform, was the last time we saw one another. 15 years ago. After brief suffering, fell asleep in the Lord. Brief? I hope not. Did you write this yourself? A tyrant, bigot, and liar, mistakenly absolved, died after suffering all too briefly. That's better. Definitely closer to the truth. The day you died, you visited me in my dreams. I was a child when you hounded me out of here, and I remember you as you were back then. But in my dream you looked older. You gave me hell as usual. You didn't believe I'd succeed. You were wrong. I've come back with 2 saluters. Farewell, Father.
Am I intruding?
Have you been eavesdropping like that for long?
All my life. I came to pay my respects to the dead. Stanisław and I were acquainted. You might say I knew everything about your father.
Mr. Victor Szulski, isn't it? Your absence from Warsaw has happily come to an end, I hope.
I haven't had time to think about it.
I understand. I hope you'll find some reason to stay here a little longer. Again, my condolences.
I didn't catch your name.
My name's Konieczkin. Ivan Konieczkin. Goodbye.
Such interesting friends you had. I guess I'm more tired than I thought. Grandpa Nikodem, a Thaumaturge. I barely remember him. Great-grandmother Josefina, a Thaumaturge. We can go. The hardest thing was getting the lid of the urn. The scattering I could handle.
You can play the clown, but I know how much this has cost you. I'm glad you went.
Love at a funeral. Arrow's post-mortem. Is it suitable for a young lady in mourning to fraternize with bachelors? Konstancja Szabłowska, the Warsaw Courier. Could I ask for a brief comment?
Hyena.
Thank you. And you, sir?
I suggest you leave. Otherwise, I'll overlook your womanhood and make sure you can never pronounce a single syllable correctly again.
You'd permit that to happen, Judge? Maybe I should write about this.
And who would let you print it?
Someday the press will get the Russian boot off its neck, Judge.
I'm afraid none of us will live to see the day, my dear. Come on, children. I'm sure my Petya is already waiting for us at home.
I'd love to see my cousin.
Are you coming with us?
Thank you, but if you don't mind, I'd prefer to spend some time alone.
Remember, we're waiting with the lawyer.
And look after yourself. It is not the city you remember anymore.
young Mr. Shulsky, after all these years, all these years. Goodness gracious, you're drenched!
Good evening, Grażynka.
Evening, evening. My, you're soaked. Come to the kitchen now. You can warm up by the stove. And that drunken judge, maybe you can drag him out too.
Where's my sister?
In the study, already waiting with the lawyer. She said you were running late. Should I make you some cocoa, master? It would warm you up a little.
Make an extra creamy one for Ligia.
Oh, I won't skimp on her. Now, your sister's putting a brave face on all this, but she's really having a hard time. It's lovely to see you again. But that's enough jabber for now. I've got the guests and the cocoa, and I've got to whip up some food for you all later. We'll talk soon.
I don't want to put my foot in my mouth again. I already failed to recognize someone once today, but you look familiar.
Well, I should think so. I was the victim of one of your starling hunts. Voronins must not be very memorable, cousin.
Pietya! Forgive me, and for shooting you as well. Huh. How are you doing?
Just some heart problems, not a subject for today. I'm sorry about Uncle Stanislav. Forgive me for not coming to the funeral. I can't bear cemeteries.
We'll have to meet up again.
Goodbye.
Oh, I'm glad you're here. I thought I'd have to drink alone.
So many goodies laid out for the guests. Having trouble picking something for yourself, Judge?
But this was Stashio's. It was special. Amber liqueur with quinces.
I think you mean quince liqueur with amber, right? If it's not here, I'm sure it's in the basement. But I won't grope around down there in the dark now. I've got my hands full.
Now, I don't want to trouble you either. Victor, could you track down a little bottle for your uncle?
I suppose I'm obligated to accept this mission.
Good lad. A nephew like you is a treasure. How did it go? Mission accomplished?
I think this is the one Uncle wanted.
Yes. This is our little funeral battle. We would meet in Stasha's study after every funeral we went to, and raised a toast to the dead. And recently, we've been seeing one another more and more at such events. More and more. But this time, even he has left me. So, to an easy death, as Stasha and I used to say.
How did he die?
Hasn't Ligia told you?
I haven't even had the chance to ask.
He didn't suffer, but such images in the memory are better saved for later. I'd prefer to remember him as he was alive. What then? Am I drinking alone? Familiar faces keep vanishing from my life. Stasio and my Helena before him. I miss my little darling. I miss them both. Well, obligation fulfilled. Shall we get to the reading of the will?
Yes, let's find out what my father hasn't left me.
Let's begin if everyone is ready. Would you all please take a seat? Ladies and gentlemen, by the power of my office vested in me by the grace of His Imperial Majesty, the Emperor of all Russia, I hereby testify. Mr. Szulski's last will and testament were prepared several years ago in the presence of Zaslav Fedorov, Esquire, that is, myself. My last will and testament recorded in the year of our Lord 1888. In the name of the Holy Trinity, Amen. Therefore, my first irrevocable wish is to appoint as executrix of this will my daughter, Ligia Szulska. Immediately after my death, an inventory shall be conducted in full accordance with the law. After completing the inventory, all my personal movables will be sold at public auction. And let the funds raised thereby be donated on the anniversary of my death to the beggars near that cemetery. The administration of the remainder of my fortune I leave, without restriction, to the person of my daughter Ligia.
I'm not even getting a teaspoon.
All movables and immovables relating to the family enterprise I entrust to the care and administration of my daughter. I do not prescribe a method of administering them. I merely offer her one piece of advice. I wish that the business should be conducted with modesty, prudence, and honesty, as I have conducted it my whole life.
A joker to the very end.
To my brother-in-law and oldest friend, Alexander Voronin, I wish to leave the following. My collection of muskets and 2 revolvers, dating to the uprising in memory of our first meeting.
Stasio, I will have plenty to do in my retirement.
Enjoy your retirement. Now, Mr. Fedorov, what did my father leave my mother?
Victor, be serious.
Nothing. There is a special item reflecting the absolute lack of any bequest to my former spouse, Nadia Fyodorovna Voronina.
I wish you success with your business and your hunting. I'm going to have something to eat before heading off.
Just a moment yet, Mr. Szulski. Your name is also mentioned here.
A last-minute plot twist.
I would also like to come to the aid of my only son, Viktor Szulski, by entrusting him with the use of my personal black grimoire, in the hope that he will be able to make good use of it. This is my last will and testament. Carry it out solemnly, though you may have found it burdensome. However, this last bequest poses a certain problem.
Yes, it certainly does. And what is that, may I ask?
I am not in possession of this grimoire. The late Mr. Szulski used it up until his death, yet no one left it with me after his passing.
Meaning it's disappeared? Did Father have his grimoire on him at the time of his death?
It was only because of the grimoire that we could identify him at all.
What actually happened? How did he die?
A building collapsed on top of him. I don't know any other way of putting it.
A building? It collapsed on top of him? How? How did this happen?
It was a day like any other. Papa had gone for his habitual walk. Every Tuesday and Thursday, he'd take a stroll to get some space, as he put it. When he didn't come back for a long time, I got the bad feeling something had happened. Then...
We rode there together. An entire wall of a tenement had collapsed. There were 3 victims, including Stasio, who had the bad luck to simply be walking by. To see him there in that condition, it's beyond description.
The grimoire. Could someone have taken it?
Perhaps. In all that confusion?
But why would anyone want Papa's grimoire? An ordinary person won't use it. Would the Thaumaturge just happen to be passing by?
Father had all his knowledge in there, but I don't know if it would be useful to someone other than him. I don't even know why he left it to me.
I'm sure Stasio had a reason.
Where did it happen? Where was this building?
A southern part of Śródmieście, not far from the police station. Anyway, you can miss it.
So that's where it is. I've seen this place. I'd rather not imagine what condition you found Father in there.
Of all the possibilities, this was the death that fate prepared for him.
I foresaw a slightly more pleasant end for him, myself. I doubt even he deserved such a horrible death.
Those might be the kindest words you've ever said on the subject of a father.
How typical of his sort of person to keep a portrait in his study of a family that was only a family on canvas. Not long after the painting was done, he got divorced, ruined Denizkızı, and kicked out his son. But there the portrait hangs, as if family meant anything at all.
I don't know what exactly happened with Aboritse, but I know that Papa felt guilty. You don't want to forgive him even now that he's gone?
The dead need no forgiving. And as for forgetting, I don't know how. It's just a shame about the grimoire.
What do you intend to do?
And where are Father's things at the moment?
You're standing at the very center of his kingdom. Not everything has been sorted through yet, but you go right ahead.
And the store? I should check that too.
I've started stock-taking there to distract myself, and I don't want you to go in there before I've finished.
As you wish. And Mordechai Chayat. Could that be a lead?
I don't think so. He worked with Father, but he left more than a year ago. I don't know why. He was an assistant at our, well, my store.
Do you know where I might find him?
Sadly, no.
Do you have any other ideas?
I think we have to look for the answer in the place where it happened.
With your sight, you can make out more in those ruins than I, or Uncle, or Detective could. This is a good lead, but is it the only one?
Father evidently knew a certain Ivan Konieczkin. Have you heard anything about him?
Konieczkin? No, doesn't ring a bell.
All sorts of people came to Papa's store. That doesn't mean every one of them might know something about the grimoire.
That's true. You've got your work cut out for you.
Now at least I can see how little I know. Maybe these scraps of information will lead me somewhere.
Well, now that we know what's got to be figured out, forgive me, my darlings. I'm going to give my old bones a rest.
I'll see you out.
Goodbye, Uncle. And, Ligia. I'm sorry it happened this way. That I wasn't close by.
The most important thing is you're here now.